Hey guys, today I wanted to take a look at the state of the 2020 presidential election by taking a look at the newest data out of the battleground states. Today I want to focus a little bit more on the states that are going to decide this election and take a look at the interesting new data that has come out. Recently, many A-plus rated pollsters by 538 have come out with new data. These are the most accurate and best pollsters in the entire country, so it's interesting to take a look at some of the numbers that they have put out in just the last couple of days. But first, I'm going to fill in all of these solid states for both Trump and Biden, these solid and likely states. So for Trump, Idaho, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, all definitely solid. The 1st and 3rd district of Nebraska definitely solid for the president, as well as Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and some of these other states here, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and that is all of these solid Republican states right now. For likely, Montana, Utah, Kansas, Missouri, Indiana, South Carolina, and Arkansas, these are the likely Republican states, and basically these states are pretty solid for either candidate. There's really no chance of Joe Biden winning any of these states, so we're not going to talk about them too much today. We're going to talk about the battleground states. These are the closest states, and to be a battleground state, basically one candidate has to have won this state by less than 3% in 2016, so Clinton versus Trump. Either Clinton won the state by less than 3%, or Trump did, or the state is just very close right now. For Joe Biden, the West Coast is all definitely solid. Hawaii is definitely a solid Democratic state, as well as most of the Northeast, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland, all definitely solid for the Democrats, as well as the state of Illinois. This is Barack Obama's home state, and the District of Columbia. And as for likely states, Virginia is a likely state right now, as well as Colorado and New Mexico. So these states that are left on this map, these are what I consider to be the battleground states, and I forgot to fill in the states of Maine and Nebraska. Nebraska's at-large vote, I think, is going to be likely right now. The likely classification is the average. Being at-large is also likely, while the 1st district is solid. So for the battleground states, we have the states of Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Minnesota, Iowa, the 2nd district of Nebraska, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, the 2nd district of Maine, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. So this really is quite a few states that Trump and Biden should be battling out in. These states, some of them were very close in 2016 for either Clinton or Trump. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Trump won, of course, by less than 1% in 4 years ago. Nevada, Minnesota, and New Hampshire, all states that Clinton won by less than 2.5%. Minnesota, 1.5%. Nevada around 2.5%, and then New Hampshire only 0.4% in favor of Clinton in 2016, while Trump won the other states that are currently in the battleground category right here. So without any of these battleground states, no candidate can win the election. Biden currently has 212 electoral votes to President Trump with 125, and currently there are 201 battleground states or 201 electoral votes worth of battleground states at stake right now. So I'm basically going to move from left to right, starting off with the Sun Belt, then the Rust Belt, then the Northeast, and then the Southeast. So taking a look at the state of Nevada, currently Joe Biden leads on average by 5.5%. This is definitely not as high as it was just in July, but honestly, I don't know where they're getting the data from. There's only been 3 polls out of this state, but they do show, they don't really show too much. Honestly, the race has basically stayed the same here in Nevada. I honestly don't know why, these trends show them going up and down, but I guess if Biden's going up in some other demographically or politically related states, I guess Joe Biden would also go up here in the state of Nevada. But taking a look at some of these other polls right here first, basically the one that catches my eye is the Siena College and New York Times Upshot poll. This poll currently shows that Joe Biden is up 4%, and this is an A-plus rated pollster. So according to 538, this is the best pollster. So they show Biden up 4%. They're not always right, but they do tend to be the most accurate. So right now, Joe Biden +4 in this new poll, so it's alright. It's an alright sign. This was a state that Trump was trying to target just because he was actually expected to win it in 2016, but he did underperform. So I'm going to put the state of Nevada currently into the lean and Biden column as he leads by 5.5%. Following that, the state of Arizona. Currently, Joe Biden leads by 4.8% or 4.5%. He peaked just a couple of days ago with 5% over Donald Trump. And looking at the newest polls here, the Siena College poll and New York Times shows that Biden is up 9% in the state of Arizona. This is very good. This other poll shows Biden at 5. There's really no grade on this pollster, while Monmouth University, another A-plus rated pollsters, conducted 3 polls here. One of them, Trump and Biden were even, one was Trump plus 2, and one was Trump plus 5. So currently Biden does lead by 4.5% on average. This is a state that Trump won by 3.6% in 2016, so definitely a shift towards the Democratic Party. As you can see, Biden has been leading in this state all the way since he took the lead in early March. So I'm going to put the state of Arizona into the lean Biden column as well. The state of Texas, currently Donald Trump is up 1.1%. As you can see, this is a pretty close race here, but I think that Trump is still going to carry the state just because, of course, it is a Republican state. It is the state of Texas at the end of the day. Never gone to a Democrat since Jimmy Carter in 1976. He was a Southerner, and he was able to flip most of the South. He was from the state of Georgia, so he was basically the last Democrat to carry the South in any presidential election. And after Reagan won in 1980, basically, Democrats have lost basically all of their control in the South. However, the polls here show Biden-Trump in a pretty even race, but recently Trump has been leading more consistently than before. As you can see, Trump has led in the state all the way from now all the way back to early August. The last time Biden was ahead here was in early August. So I guess this is a better sign for Trump that he's not losing here in this state, but still not a good sign that he is barely winning. So the state of Texas, I'm going to put into the tilt Trump column. I still think he's going to overperform. I think that a lean margin is likely for Trump, but right now it sits in the lean column. The state of Nebraska, the 2nd district, is next, so I'm only going to take a look at the 2nd district polls, and then really only polls out of 2nd district. 1st district, Trump is at 2% in this poll. I don't think it's too accurate. I honestly think it's going to be solid. It's probably definitely going to be solid. The 1st district is still very solid for the GOP, but looking at these 2 new pollsters, or new polls from Global Strategy Group, one of them shows Biden up 6 points, one of them shows Biden up 7 points. So that's a very good sign. This does put the 2nd district of Nebraska into the likely Democratic column. I'm not likely a lean Democratic column for Joe Biden. So as another flip, this would be the 2nd flip from 2016, following the state of Arizona. The state of Minnesota is next. Joe Biden leads by 9.1%. This is a pretty good sign. This is his highest lead since the lead that he was experiencing all the way back in July. More polls have been conducted recently. And if we take a look at these polls, Biden leads by 9% according to the newest poll, the latest poll out from the state. The 2 ABC and Washington Post polls, A-plus rated pollsters, show Biden up 16 and 17%. That is huge, and this this is from May, so 17 points really doesn't matter. It's from all back in May. The newest morning consult only shows Biden up 4 points. So there's a lot of variation in terms of the data here in the state of Minnesota, but definitely they all show that Biden is doing pretty well here. So Minnesota is actually going to go into the likely Biden column and not even the lean column, so that's a very good sign. He's probably going to hold on to this state, a state that Clinton won very narrowly by only 1.5% in 2016. The state of Iowa is next. Trump leads by 1.8% here. As you can see, similar to the state of Texas, his lead has been a little bit more steady since, of course, August. However, there really have been no polls out. The last poll out was up on September 10th, showing Trump up 2 points, but I'm just going to have to take their word for it. So it's going to go into the tilt column right now for President Trump, but honestly, not too much data out of the state of Iowa recently. The state of Wisconsin, Biden up 6.6 points. This is a pretty close state, a state that Trump won in 2016 by 0.8%. The margins for Biden have been increasing steadily. They, of course, peaked in the summer. However, now he is coming back and experiencing his summer numbers. And according to these polls here, they all show Biden up by pretty good amounts. The A-plus rated pollsters show Biden up 6 points and 4 points, and Morning Consult shows him up 9 points. So good signs for Joe Biden in the state of Wisconsin. I'm going to put this state into the Biden column right now, currently a lean Biden state. Following that is the state of Michigan. Right now, honestly, Michigan has basically been accepted that it's going to go to Joe Biden. I honestly don't see Trump winning in this state. Biden's doing very well, up 7.6%. And there have not been any A-plus rated pollsters, but a Rasmussen Reports poll, this is Donald Trump's favorite pollster just because it is biased towards the right, and it does inflate Trump's numbers, shows Biden up 9 points in the state of Michigan. These three newest polls added just a couple days ago shows Biden up 11, up 8, and up 10% in the state of Michigan. So Michigan is definitely going to go into the likely column. So another flip for Joe Biden and another likely state in his column. The state of Ohio is next. 18 electoral votes. Trump leads by 1.5%. Similar story to Iowa and Texas. His lead has been a little bit more steady. However, it hasn't really been steady since late August, but currently Trump leads in 3 points and 5 points according to the two latest polls. And again, a Rasmussen Reports poll shows Biden up 4 points. It's pretty surprising. This is probably a very right-leaning pollster, but it does show Biden up 4 points again in a Republican state. So I think that it's good for Biden to see that, but he honestly has really not too high of a chance of winning this state right now. If I were betting, I would bet my money on Trump, but definitely I think that since we have, over 40 days until the election, if Biden were to really make a strong play at the state, I think the state could definitely be within his grasp. So the state of Pennsylvania, Biden leads by 4.6%. This is his birth state. His numbers here are honestly not as great as they were in the summer. He is definitely not doing well as he was. A Trafalgar Group poll does show Biden up 2 points. This is another right-leaning pollster similar to Rasmussen Reports, but Biden up 2 and a right-leaning poll that is good for Joe Biden, by 5 points, 7 points, 5 points in these other recent polls. But I think that his numbers definitely have decreased since the summer when he was at his peak at around 7 to 8% on average. Now he's only up 4.6%, so it's going to go into the lean Biden column. Honestly, I think the Rust Belt is all going to flip right now unless something drastic changes. I think that if Donald Trump does not make a drastic decision in the next couple of weeks, he has lost the election because early voting is going to begin. It has already began in states like North Carolina. So I think that if he doesn't make a strong play at these states in the next couple of months, or even not months, weeks, or even days, I honestly think that the election has been lost for the president. So I'm gonna move up into the Northeast. We have two states here. First, the state of New Hampshire. Joe Biden leads on average by a margin of 6.6%. The Siena College and New York Times poll currently shows Biden up 3 points, and then some other polls. These two University of New Hampshire polls show Biden up 13 points and 13 points, and one that they conducted in May shows Trump at 2 points. So really, Biden's up 13 points in both of these B- rated pollsters, 3 points according to the A+ rated pollster. So varying numbers here, but 6.6 points definitely down from just a couple of months or even days ago. Honestly, he was up 8.2% in the beginning of this month. Now he's only up 6.6%, so it has been moved down from being a likely to a lean state for Joe Biden right now, so not a good sign, but he is still expected to win this state, a state that Clinton only carried by 0.4% in 2016. The state of Maine. So I'm going to take a look at the at-large vote, which is currently Biden plus 19 or 13.9%, but I'm going to take a look at the second district polls. So this is an A+ rated pollster right here. Siena College and the New York Times shows Biden up 2 points, while Quinnipiac shows Biden up 9 points, a B+ rated pollster. And this, I don't know what that is, honestly. There's no rating for this pollster, but Biden up 2 points, leads by 4. Not Biden up 2 points, but leads by 4 points in the second district of Maine. So some varying numbers here, but they all do show that Joe Biden is ahead, and I'm just going to put that into the lean Biden column right now, just to be a little bit safer. So we have 3 more states left, these states in the southeast. So starting off with the state of North Carolina. Joe Biden leads by 1.2%. He has been leading this entire election cycle. I've seen comments where he hasn't, but according to 538, which is what I like to use the most, Joe Biden has never been behind. As you can see right here, it does technically still show Biden leading, just too small for it to count. So Biden has been leading this entire election cycle. I don't know why some people are saying that he hasn't, but according to 538, he has. And honestly, 538, in my opinion, is the best at compiling all of this data because they are one of the only sites that actually does balancing in terms of the sample size as well as these ratings. So these ratings are important because the pollsters that have a higher rating, they have more weight in determining the numbers that each candidate is seeing. So if you were to take a look at something like Real Clear Politics, they just put in whatever polls they want, and they tend to be more right-leaning polls, while 538 puts in every single poll and uses their whole rating system. So according to the Emerson College poll, this is an A- rated pollster, still very good, Biden up 2. The Siena College, of course, an A+ rated pollster, Biden up 1. In North Carolina, 2 Suffolk University polls A rated pollsters, Biden up 3, Biden up 2. So these numbers are pretty good, but honestly, I think that due to the voter suppression that is already occurring, there's 4 times as many ballots from African Americans that are being sent back than from Caucasians. So that is definitely going to hurt Biden, in my opinion. But I think that they do actually allow you to resend it back if there's a mistake. So that is good. Honestly, I think that North Carolina's done a very good job with just allowing people to vote early so that we can have results from the state out on election night. But I think that this sort of voter suppression thing that occurs in the South is morally wrong and really may just bring Trump over the top here in North Carolina just because they are cheating. Like there is nowhere, there's no other way to say it. North Carolina, of course, as a couple of years ago, was gerrymandered so much it had to be redistricted just because of how unfair the system was and where they were trying to cluster all the Democrats together or trying to break apart or try to break apart, just areas with African Americans. The amount of stuff that the GOP has done in North Carolina, honestly, I think is not right. They first tried categorizing the districts by race, and they couldn't do that anymore, so they did it just by political affiliation after that, and then 2019, they fixed all of that, but, still not that much better. So North Carolina, honestly, I think it's just very unfair for Joe Biden right now. I think that if every vote would really be counted fairly, I do think he would win this state, but right now, I'm not too sure, but it is still, I'm going to keep it in the Biden column as, there haven't really been that many votes. I think around only a couple thousand have been actually cast so far. So as time goes, I might change my projection on the state of North Carolina. The state of Georgia as well, Trump leads by 1.3%, similar to Ohio and Texas. I like to group those states together, those being states that Trump carried by pretty good margins in 2016, but are now way less solid for him, but states that he is still basically expected to win. So the state of Georgia, currently Trump leads by 1% in the newest poll. Harris X poll shows Biden up 6, and it's just pretty back and forth right now, but Trump is in the lead by 1.3% on average. That's going to go into the Trump column as a tilt state, joining Ohio, Iowa, and Texas. And the last state on this map, 29 electoral votes from the state of Florida. Biden leads by 2% here. It's honestly been pretty downhill for Joe Biden recently. The numbers have really closed in on him. Bloomberg is expected to spend $100 million. He has already pledged that. He's going to spend $100 million in ad buys for Joe Biden out of the state. I think that's definitely going to help. But the numbers here do all show Biden in the lead in the last couple of days. But his numbers have definitely decreased from his peak in the summer when he led by almost 8% in Florida. I did expect it to go down, but honestly, 2% by, already just with a couple of weeks to go until the election, I honestly think that it would be a little bit better for Joe Biden right now. But keep in mind, this is not a state that he needs. It will just boost his electoral college victory by quite a bit. So Florida is currently in, I think it's technically in the lean column, but I'm going to put it in the tilt column just because of how close it is expected to get and how close it's really getting right now. 2% honestly could go both ways. So currently, according to my new Battleground states map, Joe Biden has 335 electoral votes to Donald Trump with 203. He would outperform Barack Obama's 2012 margins, but of course underperform his 2008 landslide victory over John McCain. So that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like on this video as well as subscribing to my channel. Leave your thoughts in the comments below along with any video suggestions for videos you'd like to see from me in the future, and I will see you in the next video.